interesting band. There's a lot of bands within the band. There's Brad, who's been very important in Seattle. He's in was in Burning Witch, One Incarnation, and a band called Asva, and a singer for the current incarnation of The Accused. There's Milky, who is from Seattle as well. He's played with Earth and done some other projects. Don, who was in Earth, who plays drums. Dave Abramson, who plays drums as well, and is in a great band called Diminished Man in Seattle, sort of surf noir. It's David Lynch core. There's Tim Harris, who we talked about, who plays with Secret Chiefs and was in a band called the Stratosphere, and does a lot of different music.
The violin player.
Yeah, he's
tonight.
just we're so blessed to have him playing with us. He's such an amazing musician.
Yeah.
And who am I forgetting? Jim Davis, who composes a lot of the more orchestral music for the band, and some of the music we played tonight. And he's sort of the overarching musical director of the band. He's like our Dr. John for Duke Ellington. Dr. John was Duke Ellington's musical director, so he's our personal Dr. John.
Okay.
So that's the group, and we've been together since I want to say about 2003-ish. However, it's really ambiguous because nobody at the time when we started kept very good track of anything. I think it came out in 2004, but was recorded 2004-ish, but it was recorded in 2002 and 2003. And that record was more of a collective. All of the people that you see were there involved, but
like an experiment, right?
yeah, kind of. Yeah, it was
because it sounds in between experiment and obviously worth to make an album for.
Yeah.
Although it's very ambient, personally I dig it, but
yeah.
What can you say about it?
I think when we went to make the record, it was about getting into the woods and recording outdoors, so that we would get away from habits we had learned as American rock musicians, and it was a good way to deprogram. Tibetan music is a big influence, and the pacing of it.
Tibetan music.
Yeah, and the intent of that music. Turkish music for sure. A few of us have been there many times and have really great acquaintances in the Turkish music scene. Some of the elders of the Turkish music scene. So that's been a big influence on us. So, we've been lucky to know some of the greats from Turkey and interact with them, be influenced by their music. So the influences are very wide and aren't just musical influences as much as
cultural ones.
Cultural and philosophical and phenomenological, and a lot of it has to do with, for me, humans' place in this world right now and where things are heading.
For our Totem 2, we have musicians from Istanbul on the record. Randall went there and recorded them.
Yeah, great name player and really incredible sauce player, Serkan Bagaksan, and the help of my friend Orkun Tunç, who helped arrange the session. We recorded one of the songs that's a traditional.
For example, which one? What name is the one playing the on the Totem 2 record?
Yeah.
The second song on the flute.
Kalderma, yeah.
That's a song.
Ihan, I forget how to say his name. I'm gonna get it wrong.
We're gonna cut it afterwards.
Ipikoğlu, I believe is how to say his name.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very hard. But he is a very well-known ney player in Istanbul, and the song that we chose to do was a very old Sufi tune, but we slowed it down and did it our own way, and then incorporated. I recorded tracks in Seattle and then went to Istanbul to record in a very famous studio there with these guys. They were kind enough to indulge being on our record.
Yes, and I think the result is going very well. Although the Totem 2 last album to have been recorded and published, right, is more ambient and experimental than the previous one. But it's very rich and more.
It's funny in a way. It's less experimental for me because I feel it's a record that has the most traditional types of music on it. You know, like the music is old, like
very old.
Some of it is based on Catholic music from 1100s, 1200s.
Okay.
Some of it is based on Turkish music from like the track we were talking about that is maybe 200 years old, and the Tibetan piece that's based on the Tibetan piece is very old as well. So I think the collision happens when we sort of synthesize the influences of that with this sort of rock, American rock impression.
You're mixing organum, which is the first style that we were talking about.
Catholic,
which is medieval. Maqams from the Middle East, and then chants from Tibet.
I think there's a kinship in attitude with those bands for sure. You know, I don't think we sound like them. Maybe sometimes.
That's sure.
We have a song that I always like to think could be a Turkish version of Soundgarden, but you know, and those guys are all really positive members of the Seattle music community. Actually, they're all very helpful. But I think in Seattle, it's there's a contingent of psychedelic music, but
underground as well.
Yeah, fairly underground.
Pretty much in Seattle.
Yeah, because Seattle always has so many big bands, like really large bands, you know, that are.
But do you mean these days or from the 90s?
No,
or?
Still to this day, Death Cab for Cutie, the Shins, so many of these very, very well-known bands, you know, Band of Horses, all these. That's like the very well-known parts.
Okay.
But Seattle has a really open community of musicians, and everyone is very. Everyone comes in and out of each other's houses, you know, without feeling grouped up. It definitely changed and opened my mind to the possibilities of being political in a way with music and commenting on culture.
Which is more direct as a musician.
Yeah,
you take
and
more
also
direct.
It can be more oblique too, you know, like the way that you present it and the way you talk about it doesn't have to be like it was in the 80s with punk rock or something.
Obviously.
You can do it in a psychic way. This is a third tour in Europe, but this time,
first time
instead
in France?
of playing, like for our booking agent, it's very easy for him to book us in Belgium, and Netherlands, and Germany, and all these places. But I love France very much, and Spain and Portugal. So we all talked, and we really wanted to come down here and play because it doesn't happen very often, and we want to do it more and make it so that it's possible. You'll see.